recently, I've been going through some fucking labor pains, man, let me tell you. And I feel like the world right now, we're all going through this massive, I know it's like I've called it the shift, I've called it the awakening. There's so many things that you can call it. It doesn't make a difference what you call it. The thing is this, we are having to revisit recently, within the last couple of weeks probably. And I think this is going to last for just a little while. It's like a revisitation of old wounds, to make sure that you are, you're finished with them. And let me tell you, it is the most uncomfortable labor pains. So I've had 5 children, and the first pregnancy was, I had twins, and then I had 3 more children after that. So believe me, I can sit here and tell you, I know what labor pains feel like. And this is such an emotional, uncomfortable, I feel like I'm cracking out of this shell, trying to break through, having to revisit all of these old relationships and old situations that I don't want to revisit. It's not the most fun thing. I know that you can see this out on the media. We're being asked to kind of put ourselves on the line as far as make ourselves available to something, even if we don't want to be, to say okay to that. And my thoughts on that are, everybody's got their own opinions. I am definitely an advocate for everybody having their own decision, and making their own choice. And what should scare us at this point, even if you do choose the other side of that, which we won't go into, everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about. Even if you have the opposite choice, to choose to receive that certain thing, that should scare the shit out of everyone. Because the minute that we are unable to choose for ourselves, that gets into some tricky situations. And realizing that those situations have already happened in our history. And that's happening on a global level, just like we talked about before, the macrocosm and the microcosm. It's happening within ourselves as well as happening within the world. And it's uncomfortable. And revisiting old relationships and old things coming up. I know I've had to revisit and be around, I've always been around people that, and this, I don't want you to think that this is a judgment call, because I'll tell you what I've realized afterwards. And these are the types of things I think that we need to understand. So I've had a lot of people very, very close to me that have addiction issues. And, no matter what, that looks like, they're all different addictions. And I've always kind of prided myself on the fact that I'm like, well, I gave up smoking cigarettes, so there was an addiction that I had. I always kind of prided myself on like, oh, well, I didn't have to have such an addiction. And looking into myself, that the painful part of that is being like, and we've talked about this before as well, where I'm like, we're mirrors for each other and of each other. And realizing that some of those mirrors, or, all of the mirrors, you've got to look within. And so it's like, well, wait a minute. I thought that I didn't have addiction issues, but clearly I do. So what is that addiction for me? Maybe it's the addiction of trying to heal other people, and thinking that I'm the one that is healing them, and that I don't need to be healed. Maybe I'm addicted to the drama of that. Maybe I'm addicted to needing to be taken care of myself. And so I think that if I fill that gap of taking care of somebody else, then it'll fill the gap within me. So different perspectives on that. And I'm just offering you just a little piece, a little spark into my life, and admitting that, we have this intuition. All of us have intuition. And all of us also have each other to show within ourselves, the mirror, right? So what does that look like for you? And really diving deep into how you can heal that within yourself, and admitting that, it's like you go into this denial stage. And for the longest time I was like, no, there's nobody, everybody's healed around me, everything's good. And I'm healed and I'm whole. And then having to revisit that and having that, the universe kind of slap that in my face, like, no, absolutely not. You are not done. We're going to bring back some old relationships, and some old wounds are going to be reopened, and you're going to have to re-examine certain things. And so I feel like everybody that I've talked to, all of my clients, all of my friends are kind of going through very similar situations. And it's painful and it hurts. And maybe this is, not maybe, I feel like we're in the middle of these labor pains. We're in the middle of either something dying or something being reborn. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I really don't. I really feel like these are good things. But being genuine and completely honest within ourselves, and sharing that love to ourselves, from ourselves, is probably a very important part of that. I've been going out into nature, and I keep thinking, as I was out on this past weekend, I went out onto the lake that I grew up on, and I have so much love for that lake. And now I'm gonna get emotional, but loving that child within myself, and remembering who the fuck I am, and remembering that it's okay to fight, and it's also okay to stop and to breathe. So going back to the labor thing, in labor, we've got to go through the painful pieces of that in order for us to grow. And then when that subsides, when that pain subsides just for a few minutes, we have to be able to rest and breathe in between. And so remembering that it's okay for some right now to fight. It's okay to stand up and fight together, and to fight for who you are, and to not worry about frequency. I mean, yes, we are frequency and we are vibration, and that's extremely important to remember. But if we don't revisit some of these things, I don't feel like we can fully heal and get to that high vibration in the first place. So doing the shadow work is a really important part of that. And so as I'm out on the water, it's completely still, and almost to the point where I can see, it's totally an optical illusion, but I love doing it when it's completely calm on that water. It looks like you can almost see the bottom, and where the rocks are, and it's actually the projection of the clouds above. But I love doing that because it sparks my imagination, and it makes me feel like, wow, I'm a part of this whole system, right? I don't know how to explain that. But anyways, as I'm going through this gust of this gust of wind, which doesn't make any sense because the water didn't move, and I took this deep breath, and I looked down, and there were bubbles coming up, and I just kind of floated over that. I was like, oh, maybe it's the earth kind of shifting and moving. But then you got to think, it's shifting, it's moving, and there's life down there that's breathing, and it reminded me to breathe. And sometimes I forget to breathe, and there's this whole battle right now going on with breath, and learning to be okay with how other people breathe, and taking our sovereignty within ourselves to be able to breathe ourselves. There's so much into that. I know it's so weird, but but reminding myself that it's okay. Like, you know, I'm all go, 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 and I'll fight, fight, fight. And I needed to breathe. I needed to rest, and I needed to remember who I am, and being okay with that, because it's like, you know what, when I'm ready to fight, there are other people that need to rest, and I'll fight for you. And now when I need to stop and breathe, you know, it's like, you know what, trust the universe, trust the people around me, trust that I know, and my higher self knows when it's time to let go and just to breathe. And other people will take over for me and fight. And we can do that for each other. And that's not a big deal. But, you know, I think that was just an important message that I learned in this shadow work, and kind of going through my own motions and being okay with just crying and letting it all out. And you know, I always say in all of my videos that we need to be able just to throw a fucking tantrum. That's totally normal. It's totally wonderful to be able just to throw a tantrum and get it all out, and then be able to breathe. And that's what I've been doing lately. I've tried to stay off of social media as much as possible. I even stayed off of this. I stayed off of it even against what other people told me. Well, you know, if you want to do this channel, then you're going to have to be on there every week and all the time, so that you can, you know, people know that you're on and they know that you're there for them. But during that time, I really needed, I needed to breathe, and I needed other people to take over for me. And you know, these are things that it's just like normal reality, and nothing that I haven't ever, like I never really stopped dealing with this, but I kind of put it off on the back burner. And I didn't realize that these were things within me that I needed to bring up in order to heal. And so I thought I'd do a really quick video about that, and remind you all that it's okay to breathe, and it's okay to fight. And whichever place you're in right now is exactly where you need to be. And it's important for all of us. So I'm sending you so much love. I'm sending you so many high vibrations, even when I feel like I'm at this really low place. I'm really not. I think it's almost like I said, it's like labor pains, and being able to push through. And I want you to know that that's very possible to be in both worlds. So we're in the middle of the shift. We are in the middle of the storm, whatever you want to call it. And I'm okay, you know, and I want you guys to know that you're okay as well. And we just got to breathe through this together. So sending you so much love. I will see you on the next video.